Hey everyone, back again with another video. So today we're obviously going to review the most recent ban list that pretty much dropped a few days ago. And I wanted to go over this ban list because it's kind of peculiar in consideration to other ban lists. Not quite like the June 2020 ban lists, but this is kind of weird in general. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So Dragon Buster Destruction Sword was finally banned, mainly because of its overpowered extra deck lockdown effect, which basically puts a lot of players and their deck at a standstill, since modern Yu-Gi-Oh basically lives off of the extra deck in order to win games. This is no surprise since many people were asking for it, and it's easy to equip since you can equip it from the hand or the field. Especially if you search it, which is not hard to do at all, being that it's a level 1 dragon monster, and it's also a tuner, which it can be easily summoned. So it basically had it coming. However, this card was most notably known for the Jin lock, which is by far the main reason why this card was banned. Furthermore, its ban also keeps it from being a tech option, from being used in many rogue decks, dragon decks, or other crafty non-meta decks, and it's unfortunate for Buster Blader decks in general since they don't have this card to really give them the steam that they need. But yeah, there's pretty much not too much to say about it other than it pretty much was to be expected. So another card that was unsurprisingly banned was Link Cross, since it had the capability to spam a lot of tokens onto the field, and these tokens had potential to be used for XYZ plays, synchro plays, or other plays, since the tokens couldn't be used for link material. So it was bound to get banned. And it's easy to summon along with the fact that it generates a lot of tokens, but what's surprising is that Halqifibrax didn't get banned, since I do think it is a bigger problem than Link Cross, primarily because it helps you get out your overpowered Link 4 monsters, which allows you to continue your plays and acts as an extender. I know you could say the same for Link Cross, but I think Halqifibrax is a much bigger offender. That and Konami has had the history of banning older cards, and it's surprising to see Link Cross get banned before Halqifibrax, since Link Cross is a little more new than Halqifibrax. However, I think both of them should have gotten banned, since they're both blatantly broken cards and don't serve any good card design purpose. Another predictable card on the ban list is Smoke Grenade of the Thief, and it's easy to see why it got banned, since Infernobles are a meta deck that effectively took advantage of the equip spell mechanic. And being that most decks like Infernobles have solid destruction effect capabilities, Infernobles could exploit Smoke Grenade, since Smoke Grenade relied on being destroyed, and it's easily searchable since Infernobles could easily search out equip spells in general. But because this card had so much synergy with Infernobles, this card could easily be abused to quickly discard your opponent's entire hand potentially in the same turn, just like how Cyframe Lord Omega did back in the day when it was at 3 copies. And we know from experience that anything that allows you to take too much advantage away from your opponent, like discard effects, eventually get banned. And although this card had some previous success with Inzectors, it's surreal to see how such an old card from 2003 had such a broken effect on the meta currently. Though a lot of older cards have very generic effects with very few restrictions, which allows them to be broken in the future formats, kind of like how we're seeing today. And it's sadly, but oddly, kind of almost sad to see this card go. So, shockingly, there were no cards that made it onto the limited list, which is kind of reminiscent of the June 2020 ban list, where nothing got banned or limited. And although many players thought that VFD should have at least gotten limited if it wasn't banned, it was actually untouched by the ban list altogether. However, True King's Return did manage to come off of the limited list, and it is now semi-limited, which now might allow True Kings to have a little more advantage along with Dracos, since they can experiment in this format a little more, even if it doesn't necessarily make True Kings or Dracos competitive, since you now have a little more accessibility to destruction with this card, along with summoning and tribute effects that can benefit True Draco and True King archetypes. So, much like the previous few ban lists, Burning Abysses have continued to be the winners of the ban list, especially with the release of Phantom Rage. And Burning Abyss has really gotten a boost now that Seer and Graph of the Burning Abyss are at 3 copies, which sounds a bit insane since the Unlimit now gives BAs more summon ability from the hand, deck, and the graveyard, which enables them to extend their combos and being more able to build their boards just a little better, which in turn they may use to allow them to lock down the field all the much better. However, I was hoping to see Destiny Hero Malicious make its way onto this ban list, but knowing how much more viable BAs are now, it would kinda be insane seeing Malicious at 3 copies in a BA-centric format, so I guess it's kind of a pipe dream at this point. Furthermore, Evagishki Mind August is also now at 3 copies, which seems a little insane if you see that it allows you to recycle 5 cards from the target player's graveyard to the deck. However, Evagishkis don't have enough resources to be viable, and although they have a bit more wind in their sails, they still are a bit frail to last in the meta. However, the 2 more notable Unlimits are ABC Dragon Buster and Totally Awesome. So, ABC Dragon Buster being back at 3 copies adds a lot more consistency to the ABC strategy, as well as more access to resources and summon capabilities with Dragon Buster, since you can now bring out 3 banished Light Union monsters with different names. And it's great on top of all the banish effects that you can use. Well, really the one banish effect that Dragon Buster can use. So, in terms of Totally Awesome, I think this may be Konami's attempt to limit a bit of the crazier spam decks by allowing Toads to have better access to their control strategy. Personally, I think this just adds to the negation problem, which makes it harder to play in general. Though I do think this may shift the format towards a more back row heavy format in general. But on the other hand, you kinda have to bring Toad to 3 if you allow other decks to have more access to search and basically summon effects in order to kind of counteract this whole process in general. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on this video, and that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on the ban list in general. And although I think this ban list was a bit weird, I do think it could have been a lot more worse. Like, they could have left both Linkross and Halqifibrax still in the meta, which really sounds insane, but I'm glad at least one of them got hit. And they did kind of address a few of the other problems, but albeit they should have addressed more issues in general. But overall, it wasn't too bad. It was just strange to see the particular choices they made. But that pretty much wraps up my thoughts. And if you want to support more content like this, you can do so on my Patreon. And I normally leave the link down in the description below. And you can normally check it out there along with the other cool things I normally post down below in the description. So with that, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll catch you in the next video. Alright, take care.